Hello, 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 and greetings, class. Welcome to week two, part two. We are in Thailand. Luckily, the technology glitches that happened last week are over. Thank goodness. Thanks for bearing with me. I know on Wednesday that was a little, that was a little rough for all of us. So I am a little bit under the weather. So my apologies for my voice here and then on feedback. But I am here and present, so let us go. I did want to pull up the slides from Thailand that I wasn't able to pull up and go into during the main class last Wednesday, so we can take a deeper dive into Thai cuisine, as well as pull up some of my really favorite dishes, namely khao soy, and some other delicious bites. So let's pull this up and check it out. So, share my screen first. All right, here we go. So, as we know, we are knocking this out. It is due Tuesday, tomorrow at 11:59. You're making your green curry paste first. Then you take that paste after processing it, and you're going to then create a green curry with that. We have covered all the substitutions. Extra substitutions are located on the instructor announcement page as well. And then you're going to be making a delicious vegan version of pad thai. So when we start to think about, and actually let me pull this back out really quickly. You know me, I love to show us where the heck we are in the world. So Thailand, right? This is always a good way to get a grip on what's going on and where we're located. So as you can see, if we zoom out here, zoom out, and we start to see, okay, maybe you've heard Southeast Asia, very hot spot in recent years for, travel and cuisine, a bit more attention coming in. So we zoom in here and we see Thailand right there, Malaysia just to the south of it, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar or Burma, okay? We also have China, okay? And then right across the Bay of Bengal and the sea, we've got India, right? The subcontinent of India. So this is where we're located. And what are we going to see? Well, once again, we've got a long stretch of coastal area. So we know that that's going to indicate fish in all sorts of forms, okay? From fermented to and turned into sauce, to turned into curries, to salted and turned into pastes. We also have quite a bit of inland jungle, okay? So a lot of deep, lush, hot, tropical weather that's going to yield a wide variety of different products as well as very different styles of cuisines, okay? Bangkok, the big city capital there, and then, Chiang Mai up in northern Thailand. So you've got biggest differences in cuisine from northern and southern Thai cuisine. All right, let's get back in and take a look and skip down in. We see this influence of Siamese cuisine. All right. That was at the earliest of the 13th century. So you had a wide variety of different types of meats, seafoods, the local vegetables, right? Local herbs, garlic, pepper. Now, this is where we're going to see, instead of just rice, we have the Chinese that brought in noodles. Noodles are going to be showing in certain areas comparatively to other areas where you might see rice dishes. You also have a heavy amount of dishes being cooked with a steel wok, similar to, again, Chinese cuisine. Now, you also have a large influence of Indian spices. Remember, we just saw on the map, we weren't too far from there. This week, you also were grinding up and toasting cumin and coriander, very much Indian spices, right? When we get into Indian cuisine, we know that the spices of India have always been very highly sought after, right? And those spices have traveled around the world, influencing different cuisines. You have a very large population of both Indian and Chinese coming into Thailand. Now, once again, we're seeing this salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and spicy coming together. Look at these plates. Again, you have a huge amount of fresh herbs being utilized: lemongrass, galangal, culantro, herbs, Thai basil, which is a bit more pungent than the Genovese Italian style basil with a broader leaf. Now, when we think about dining, many times you have family style meals, a fish or a meat meal, lots of vegetables, noodle dishes, and individual soups. Okay. And desserts, maybe if you've ever gone to a Thai restaurant, that classic mango with sticky rice, or even better, mango with coconut sticky rice for that extra 1-2 punch of tropical flavors. You have different colorful rice cakes, rice dumplings, coated in coconut, grass jelly, bean desserts, red bean. And here we start seeing in these differences from the south to central to northern and eastern regions. In southern Thailand, we have a lot more focus on hot chilies, dried fish, a ton of herbs, okay, as well as budu, which is a thicker and more pungent version of the classic fish sauce, which is a bit thinner and still quite pungent, if you ask me. So you can imagine what that budu is like. If you've ever had a chance to smell fish sauce, which is generally made out of anchovies and salt, a traditional fermentation, that's just about it. That's all that should be in there. And so this is going to be an even more concentrated, funkier, more pungent and thicker version of that. You have also a lot of coconut curries, okay, which utilizing coconut and a little bit of sugar palms. You've got hot, spicy, and sour dishes coming in, and a big influence of Indian Chinese population, as well as masaman curry. You'll see that there are wide varieties of different types of curries. How are those curries served? Are they served with rice? Are they served with noodles? Are they thicker? Are they sweeter? Are they red, yellow, green? What's the flavor profile? Okay. Now, you also, interestingly enough, see roti, right? Roti is a flatbread of Indian origin that has really kind of moved and found itself all the way in different areas around the world. Now, in central Thailand, you've got a bit more sweeter dishes, thicker curries with coconut milk. And you see where Bangkok is located in central Thailand, a lot more of that Chinese influence, which we see more soy sauce, fermented bean paste, fermented black beans, and fermented bean paste is often used in Chinese cuisine. Oyster sauce also starts to come into play, as well as we see politics, economics, Bangkok, right? Center of trade, bustling, crazy streets, as opposed to the farther north where you've got a bit more jungle, okay? And here we're going to see more of that hot, salty, and sour, as opposed to southern where we're seeing hot, spicy, and sour. Okay, so a little bit less spicy than in central Thailand compared to southern Thailand, where we're getting really bringing that heat. Okay, and now also see a lot of jasmine rice being popular as well. Continuing on, you've got the northeastern region, Isan cuisine. I have come to really love Isan cuisine. I find it to be very different from what I thought of as traditional cuisine, which I have been exposed to, in Chicago and the US. I have yet to go to Thailand. I hope I do someday. But as we get into that northeastern Thailand, you see more fermented products as well. And the hands down, in my opinion, the best salad, a green papaya salad, sam tam. Okay, this is incredible. I'm going to be posting a link to the how to make and execute sam tam. It uses green papaya, not orange, mature, ripe papaya, but very underripe, green, sour, and firm papaya that's then shredded, pounded with aromatics, tomatoes, long beans, fish sauce, garlic, galangal, a little bit of chili, and shrimp paste often, but you could easily omit that, and then garnish with freshly toasted peanuts. This is extremely refreshing. I'm salivating thinking about it. It's got that salty kick from the fermented fish product or shrimp. Oftentimes it has small little teeny dried shrimp in it, but again, really easy to eliminate these fish or dried shrimp. I've made plenty of papaya salads that did not contain anything other than fish sauce, but you know, you don't need to use shrimp paste or dried shrimp in them. You could and will want to make a vegan fish sauce if you want to keep it vegan to get that brininess and salinity. But otherwise, we also see a lot of freshwater fish as opposed to the sea saltwater fish because of where it's coming from. It is landlocked, okay? And you see that plat bec or plat ra, which is fish paste, and pickled daddy crabs. I recently was at back home in Chicago and was able to go to a newly opened Isan Northeastern Thai cuisine, and there was 4 different versions of this papaya salad, and one of them came with a pickled daddy crab. And this was a cured crab, and the crab was simply cured, raw crab cured in a heavy concentration of salt and sugar. It's definitely not for everybody's taste buds, very intense, very pungent. And very funky. So we see a lot of these flavor profiles coming in. In this Isan region, again, right next to Laos and Cambodia. So you have that influence and kind of crossover. Remember, border countries, whenever we start to get into those border regions, we see that crossover happening a little bit more. Products, where they grow, who's living there, and how do they use them. And you also see a lot more sticky rice as opposed to where jasmine rice, right? So sticky rice is going to have a different texture and cook differently as well. Now, when we get into northern Thailand, this is where that khao soy that I mentioned came from. It is thick and dense in jungle area. You might see a lot of fermented bamboo shoots in here as well. Lots of foraging because of the huge jungle, lush, thick, dense jungle. A lot of foraged herbs, roots, tubers, and mushrooms contribute to this diet, as well as offal. Offal are the parts of the apple, the animals that are not traditionally common. So when we look at offal and versus muscle meat includes, you know, the main muscle components of your animals, while offal would be the innards, okay? Brains, glands, intestines, things of that nature. And you see a lot more of that. This also can be then transformed into terrines, patés, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we also will see blood. Blood is used in many regions of the world to make blood sausage, from France all the way to Thailand, to Scottish for haggis, to morcilla in Spanish Latin countries, tons of variety. You also have a lot of these very teeny pea-like size eggplants, about the size of a small cherry, very small cherry tomato. Also have, of course, a ton of the Thai chilies. It is spicy. You've got mountains coming in. You've got a ton of herbs. And many boiled, steamed, and broths are common in this area as well. And since you don't have coconuts growing in the region like you do in the southern area, you don't have a lot of coconut-based curries either. Now, some of these products that we see a lot, that Thai basil, which has purple tinged leaves and purple stems compared to, again, a pointier leaf compared to the traditional Italian Genovese style basil that we see, which are softer leaves, wider, and a little bit more delicate and not as intensely aromatic, and definitely don't have that purple or yellow hue to them. Galangal, which we talked about, ginger's cousin, palm sugar. Palm sugar is very different compared to, you know, when we think about refined white sugar. It's going to have deeper color. It has caramel notes, molasses-like notes. So this brings depth of flavor to dishes as well. And of course, tamarind. Lots of dried spices, red shallots, which are really important. You know, we often talk about what type of onions or allium we're using, right? Are we using young garlic? Are we using shallots, white onion, sweet onion, red onion? What onion? We do see a high utilization of red shallots, and red shallots are going to be, they're a bit sweeter, they're softer, they don't have as much bite, and often served as a raw component to many dishes to eat alongside. You might even find raw slices of ginger or slightly pickled ginger that's been sliced and then put into water and let sit. This actually infuses that water with just a little bit of that ginger heat, mellows out a bit of that ginger intensity, and then you will find julienne pieces of raw ginger alongside those shallots, maybe some raw cabbage, fresh hot Thai chilies, and roasted peanuts, maybe a little bit of palm sugar, and maybe some toasted coconut. And those get served alongside your dishes that you're adding and eating with it. Of course, lime and lemongrass. We have wing beans, macroot limes, these teeny little pea eggplants. There are many variations and varieties of eggplant, from long and slender to more round and fatter. Loofah, which is not just something that we use in the shower to scrub off. That is actually a plant. When I first saw that the production of loofah, I was absolutely blown away. That loofah actually is the inside of a plant. It is absolutely incredible. That gets harvested, sliced, and dried, and it is a plant. It is a natural exfoliant once processed and harvested. But guess what? You can also eat it. Watermelon rind, right? Thinking about waste utilization. Neem, if you have any interest in Ayurvedic, or maybe you remember something from PB130, neem leaves are often utilized in different Ayurvedic or tinctures as well, but they are also consumed here. Banana flowers, which can be transformed into salads. You can make a banana blossom, but blossom or flower interchangeable, right? Banana flower salads. You can deep fry banana flowers. They can be put into soups as well. And then the Chinese chive, which is probably one of my hands down favorite, also known as garlic chive. Now here we get into some of those identification. We've got your red and green Thai chilies, garlic, lemongrass, your turmeric, which is also a rhizome, galangal, rhizome, ginger's friend, and macroot lime leaves. There's that paste of tamarind, which in this case, this does have those seeds, and you want to take that block, you would take a chunk out, put it in some warm water, let that sit, and then work with your hands, clean hands, and separating the long pieces of fiber and seeds from the actual, from when you're creating your own lime tamarind paste. That liquid can also be then transformed into the base for different curries, soups, et cetera, et cetera. So, or even just refreshing drinks, so it doesn't get wasted. We've got your palm sugar. We've got a wide variety of spices, from star anise to turmeric, black pepper, coriander, cumin, and peppercorns. All of your different styles of rice noodles, vermicelli to Thai, and I believe these are just going to be a brown rice vermicelli. Then, of course, you've got your mint, basil, and cilantro, oyster sauces here, your fish sauce, of course. This baby brand is very common in a lot of dried shrimp and or dried fish, fermented fish, or fermented shrimp paste. And of course, coconut milk. Next, we've got those little teeny eggplants that I was talking about, wing beans, other herbs, and gourds. Now, when we get into rice and the consumption of rice, there's that classic dessert mango and sticky rice. Sticky rice, it is a long grain, not a short grain, but a long grain glutinous rice. So remember, gluten, right? It's going to be sticky. That's what's creating that stickiness compared to when we cook a short grain or a long grain glutinous rice compared to jasmine or basmati. Those do not have as much gluten, so the texture is quite different, and the cook time is less as well for jasmine or basmati compared to sticky rice. And those can be consumed in many forms, from sweet to savory. And of course, as I mentioned, coconut sticky rice. Now, when we think about how much rice is produced, rice is life, okay? Literally, rice is life. More than half of all arable land is used for the rice production, okay? And more than 4 million farms produce rice. It is the most staple crop, it's most consumed, and Thailand is known as the rice bowl of Asia. So if that indicates an indicator of how much this is valued, we also want to go deeper into it. There is a rice goddess, okay? The rice goddess, rice has a soul. If you, depending upon where you grow up, and I learned this from my a Taiwanese woman that I worked with. Obviously, Taiwan and Thailand, very different countries. However, the understanding and the value of rice, that you don't waste even one grain of rice. There are people that are hungry and without food. So when rice is life and there's a rice goddess, you honor every piece. You do not let, if a piece of rice falls on the ground, you don't let that go to waste. You don't throw that rice out. This is part of respecting food waste and understanding what labor and love goes into harvesting each of those individual grains of rice to get to your table. Okay. Interestingly enough, 3,500 varieties of rice in Thailand, ranging from local wild rice to newly created ones, hybrids, different versions, right? 3,500. How many do you know? How many can you think of? I certainly not hit 3,500. I know at best, and not just from Thailand, at best, I could give you maybe 25 varieties of rice. 3,500 is intense and immense. And then, of course, you've got that long grain rice, but we do see jasmine being the preferred long grain rice here. Next up, we think about those popular dishes, pad thai, which I hope you read into and thought about the origin of pad thai and how it came to be. Masaman curry, which is this deep red curry that has a high utilization of not just cumin and coriander, cinnamon, but also a little bit of nutmeg. Okay, something to note. If you've ever heard of mace, nutmeg and mace are related. Mace, so if you've got a nutmeg, which is a nut, right? Mace is this kind of crazy looking thing that surrounds the nutmeg. It is part of the same plant, but has a different flavor profile. So mace is going around the nutmeg, okay? And it's pink, light pink colored, and it kind of has this weird shape. And both of these are going to be utilized within Thai cuisine. You've got pad ped, Penang curry, sam tam, that infamous green papaya salad that I've got the video on in the class and the instructor announcements page to see how you prepare it and utilizing a Thai style mortar and pestle. It's very deep. It's not, and oftentimes made out of wood and made for pounding. And you will make salads and you form these salads from pounding, not just from pounding a curry paste, but you actually make salads utilizing a mortar and pestle. To, instead of doing specific knife cuts, you're pounding vegetables to release essential oils, herbs, and break those down. Of course, you've got spring rolls, satay, peanut sauce, lemongrass soup. Okay. When we think about dining etiquette, you want to have your spoon in your right hand and fork in the left. Chopsticks, predominantly used for Chinese noodle dishes, or not at all. I was absolutely floored and shocked when I went to what soon became my favorite Thai restaurant in the city of Chicago, and thought I became friends with the chef and owner. She came from Thailand to Chicago and opened her restaurant in 1983. And I, was asking her about chopsticks. She said, we don't use those. And in fact, you use mostly just your fork, your spoon in your right hand, your fork in your left, right? And think about, we've got curry and rice, right? And so you get all that sauce in there, as opposed to if you just are using noodles, that in chopsticks, that all that sauce and delicious gravy and curry is dripping off. So you want to get everything and scoop that up so that your rice is coated in your curry. Again, family style dining, sharing, and of course, I pour you a drink, you pour me a drink. It is a back and forth, and it shows a little bit of how we dine together communally. And then, of course, do not, we always see that left hand showing through, saying for communal serving dishes, we don't use the left hand. For your own personal use, it's okay, but communal serving utensils, you want to stick with your right hand. Remember, we see that prevalent many, many countries where that left hand should not be used either to eat and or then if it is used to eat, you don't want to handle a communal dining utensil with that left hand. So as mentioned, you're going to be knocking out your pad thai, your vegan pad thai, beautiful aromatic green curry paste, and then knocking that together with your green curry. All righty. Class, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and I hope all is well. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.